Program Director, DG, Minister Gigaba, Tate Bonang Mohale, business leaders and other ministers who are here, and colleagues and ladies and gentlemen. It's a real joy and a pleasure to be here. I take it we are here to, as South Africans, and possibly all of us going to the World Economic Forum meeting in Davos, to consolidate our message as a delegation comprised of business, government and labor and I think civil society, to just really consolidate that message, a message that hopefully will wow the world to look at South Africa in a renewed way, particularly now that we have, after Christmas, there was a little event that took place in Nasrec, but the most important event is we had Christmas and New Year, and out of that we came out with a very powerful message of renewal and unity, as Minister Gigaba was saying, and Christmas yielded very good gifts, I guess, for all of us as South Africans. The governing party held its conference, as you've heard, and came out with a new leadership, but also came out with what I believe is a very powerful message, a message of seeking to renew not only the governing party, but also our country, and a message of unity, not only forging unity in the governing party, but in the nation as a whole. And I'd like to stress this part because many of us may well have thought that it's their own affair, they are trying to unite themselves and renew themselves. It's much more overarching than just looking at the African National Congress as a party. It's about looking at us as South Africa, as South Africans, renewing ourselves and uniting ourselves and coming out of that period, which was a period of uncertainty, a period of a measure of darkness, and getting into a new phase. And I'd like to believe that as a country, we now all feeling that we are in a new phase, and this is certainly being felt through the length and the breadth of the country by ordinary people, that we want to renew ourselves and our country, and this is what we need to harness as a people, as a country, and as leaders across all spectrums of endeavor in our country. And as we get into this, to begin to look at areas that need renewal, and there are many, many places that need renewal. The one overriding concern that people had leading up to this conference was political uncertainty. And I'd like to believe that we now have certainty. We now have a new leadership that has been chosen that is going to take the country forward. The National Executive Committee of the African National Congress is willing, ready, and prepared to take South Africa forward. But it has also made a very important call, and that important call is we want, through the process of consensus, the process of compact building, to work with various role players in our country to take South Africa from where it was. And a number of challenges that we have faced were mentioned: junk status, low growth, SOE, dysfunctionality, and many other things. The key issue here is that leadership is now prepared, determined to work with all of us to build that consensus, to build a social compact. If you read the January 8th statement, which set out precisely what we want to do in this year, you will have seen littered throughout that statement that working together, compact building, is going to be something that we want to underpin everything that we are going to do. And as a team, Team South Africa that is going to Davos, it would be good and desirable for all of us to underpin everything we are going to say, to do in Davos, with that clear message that we want to work together, solidify this compact that we would like to see built. And what are going to be the key components of this compact? The key components of this compact should be policy certainty. We certainly want to see policy certainty across all, if you like, platforms. Where there's been policy uncertainty, we want to work together with the private sector, with labor, with community-based organizations as government to infuse that certainty. We want, as part of this compact, to have economic recovery. Our most important task right now is to address the challenge of jobs, inequality, and poverty. And we will be able to address all that by recovering or getting our economy to recover. And we want to work together to ensure that there is economic recovery. Government cannot do it alone, nor can the private sector do it alone. So we want to work together, all of us as key role players in our economy, to achieve this purpose. And we want to make South Africa an attractive domain or an attractive country for investment, and address those issues that stand in the way of investments flowing into our country. As we go to Davos, my sole purpose in going there is to go and sell the country. And I'd like to believe that it is a common and collective purpose, as all of us are going to Davos to go and sell South Africa. And we should do that with the purpose of attracting investors to come to South Africa. So it will be increasing investor confidence in our country and also addressing the key challenges that we face. Yes, we have been downgraded. It's going to be a mammoth task to get us out of this trench or out of this hole. But working together, I'd like to believe that we can. Another important thing is to stabilize our state-owned enterprises. And this is part of this ingredient about building this compact. Our state-owned enterprises, as we all know, are facing serious challenges. And we need to work together to stabilize them. And I'd like, and I'm not saying it very glibly, I'm saying I'd like us to work together to stabilize those state-owned enterprises. There are a variety of measures that we need to take at the governance level, make sure that we've got good people in the boards that run these state-owned enterprises, really top-class executives, and good governance procedures and processes to avoid these terrible mishaps that have been happening in our state-owned enterprises, where rot sipped in and huge calamities then followed. The other important thing as part of this process is to address the issue of corruption and state capture. And in this regard, we welcome the establishment of the Commission of Inquiry that State President has announced, and we're looking forward to the finalization of the terms of reference for this inquiry. But we've said that in tandem, we want to see action being taken against those who have done wrong things. And we've already started seeing the beginning processes of precisely that. The National Prosecuting Agency is beginning to move, and we welcome that. We welcome the actions that they're beginning to take, and we want them to act with urgency to increase the tempo of the actions that need to be taken. The freezing of assets is an important component of this, but we want to see much more following on the actions that they should have taken some time ago. And colleagues, a message that we will be taking to Davos now will be, we've been saying that we are going to address corruption, and we are deadly serious about addressing corruption, and we're now beginning to see the steps that are being taken in doing precisely this. Compact building, in my book, is going to be the important feature of what we need to do as South Africans to move our country forward. And by the way, through compact building, we've been able to achieve a great deal in the past. Minister Patel was reminding me that in 2009, when we faced the crisis, the economic crisis that we went through, it was through the cooperation, the working together between business, government, and labor that we were able to be better positioned. Recently, we saw what compact building can do when we negotiated what many people thought was an intractable type of process, which is reaching agreement on the national minimum wage. And indeed, through compact building, business and government has been able to put their heads together to address the issue of how can we foster further investment in our country, and also how can we address the issue of jobs, particularly jobs for young people. Now, compact building has stood us in good stead, and I believe it's going to continue standing us in good stead. And all I'd like to say is, let us continue being committed to this process. Of course, there will be starts and stops. There will always be 2 steps forward and 3 steps backwards. But we need to keep the momentum and keep moving forward and address all the challenges and all the problems that we will face along the way. We have the YES program, Youth Employment Service, that is now hopefully going to be, not hopefully, that is going to be finalized soon. And we want to see that commencing, and we commend a number of colleagues who are here who have been playing a critical role in making sure that we arrive at this. Mr. Coleman, Mr. Kosef, and a number of other colleagues in the BBC have been acting, have been involved in the process of ensuring that we reach conclusion on this. So that in itself is going to be a huge shot in the arm for our country when we begin the process of addressing youth unemployment. And clearly, all these are going to be aimed at ensuring that we bolster our fortunes as a country. The World Bank yesterday also released a report in their global economic prospects, and there's a portion that is dubbed, which they say the world economy is enjoying synchronized recovery. Now, that for me is the operative word, synchronized recovery, and that is precisely what we want to see in our country. We should have synchronized recovery, and we're dubbing it recovery, because that's precisely what we would like to see in our country, that we should have economic recovery. And economic recovery can only be engendered if we all work together and should put shoulder to the wheel and address a number of problems. And there should be no holy cows. Any one of the role players, as Bonang Mohale standing here was already alluding to, should feel free to raise any problem and any challenge that our country faces. And it is through that that we will then be able to have this synchronized recovery that we should have. The World Bank report goes on to say it gives rise to a number of opportunities, particularly for developing economies. And that should be so true for our own economy, that we should have synchronized recovery of our economy, because embedded in there should be great opportunities that all of us can grasp and work on. And we're looking forward to a great year of unity right across the board for all of us, a great year of renewal where we'll be able to renew nearly everything that we do so that we can move towards this synchronized growth and recovery. And clearly the growth has to be inclusive. That's precisely what is needed in our country. And as we go to Davos, who have come up with a very, very good slogan or topic or theme of shared growth, that's precisely what should be operative in our own country, particularly as we address challenges of inequality, unemployment, and poverty. Colleagues, as I end, I believe that we've got a good message to take to Davos. This ending of the year and this renewal and the unity purpose that has now been announced through the governing parties conference gives us a great opportunity to face the world unashamedly, to face the world with a positive message, and to tell the world that much as we're downgraded, we've got green shoots beginning to emerge, and we're coming to the world as a unified South African team to give a positive message that South Africa, as Minister Gigaba was saying, is ready. As Bonang Mohale was saying, we are ready and open for investment. And I wish you all the very best as you interact with a number of people at Davos and tell the South Africa story. A number of people have already said that they would like to see the Deputy President. We're going to be welcoming this. And in interacting with them, I would welcome opportunities where some of you will also be in the room as we meet some of these people so that we can put forward a unified message, a single message, and where we put our best foot forward as South Africans. Last year, as I conclude, we did very well. I hadn't been to Davos for a very long time, but last year I thought we did extremely well. And even the dinner where we invited a number of people who are interested in our country was a great dinner. And I believe this year there's also going to be wine tasting. And if nothing else, that's the most important thing I'm going to Davos for. So I think we will have a very, very good opportunity. I go to Davos this time quite seriously, to all of you colleagues, with a very, very positive disposition. Because I think this time round, we have a much better story to tell. We have a futuristic good story to put to the world. South Africa is renewing itself. South Africa is underpinned by unity of action, unity of purpose, and unity in everything that we do. So colleagues, let's go to Davos. Let's go and wow the world. Let's go and tell the world how great our country is and that we are open for business, and we're there in Davos to bring back lots and lots and lots of dollars for investment in our country. Thank you very much.